All right, welcome everybody to the Success Through Relationship Building webinar. I appreciate you guys joining us. We'll record this so you can share on social media as well as within your offices, because I'm imagining that most of you have other colleagues that need to know how to build relationships as well. So thank you for the time, thank you for being here, and we like to start on time and end on time, so this will be super efficient. So I'm Forrest Blake. I'm the CEO and founder of Highrise Networks. We started Highrise about 2.5 years ago with the philosophy of let's put people together within high-rise buildings to do business together. And we now have 22 groups here in Southern California. We have 4 verticals, and we're currently launching 2 new professional groups here in August. So excited to keep that going. Much of the material that you'll see today was developed through our experience with our members. So it's great information, and it's certainly things that I would not have figured out without the help of our members. So let's get into it. So let's talk about the circle of influence. This has been going on forever. It isn't something new. From the beginning of time, people have been saying, let's surround ourselves with people that not only do we like, but can also build our business or our influence. And that's what a circle of influence is. So if you get one thing out of this meeting, is to come away with, how do I build my circle of influence and start building it? So the idea here is creating a group of peers that are at your level that you can do business with. And it moves beyond that, because as you develop these people and as you fundamentally interview your team, they're a part of your organization. They're a part of your sales team. So it's very important to decide and to find the right people for your team. So this is what a circle of influence starts out as. It's a blank page. You've got different levels. I always like to have 2 people per category. So if I'm going to refer a financial planner, I find it's better for the prospect or client to have 2 choices. Number 1 is that removes some liability. Number 2, it gives them a choice. They may really connect with one person and not with another. So it's a fantastic way to go. So I've been developing my circle of influence for years. And what I do is think of it as almost an interview. So when I'm doing my one-on-one meetings, which we're going to get to next, my sole goal of that one-on-one meeting is to find out if we're going to bring these people into my circle of influence. Are they part of my team or are they not? So this is what the circle of influence looks like after. So we have architect category, then we have the companies, and then we have the 2 individuals with phone numbers. Now the way I use this is I'll actually take it into a new client meeting, or even in a networking one-on-one meeting, and hand it across the table and say, which of the people here would you like to be introduced to? So it's a fantastic way to not only organize yourself and to know who's in your circle, but also to help those people in your circle find new business with your clients. So that's a big element. Certainly work on it. My initial circle was just literally drawn and filled in the blanks. But you know, these are people I think about every day, and it's important to have those people in your circle. The other thing that happens with a circle of influence, when you have those Dodger tickets or you have a nonprofit event, you're going to be thinking about your partners and bringing them along. You really are in a relationship. You invite them to your house for your birthday parties. You're close net. So that's circle of influence. So think about that. Organize it. It's not easy. It takes a lot of time, but it is well worth it. So let's talk about one-on-one meetings. It's very hard to travel around LA to go meet somebody for lunch and walk out of there and say, I don't know what I got out of that. That was not beneficial for me or the person I'm meeting with. So the goal through this next 5, 6, 8 minutes is to go through how to make those effective meetings. So we got a little feedback, so I'm going to mute Bob and a few of the people here so we don't get the feedback, and I'll unmute you when we get to the Q&A. So first step is you got to generate a target list. Now, we're used to generating target lists because if you're in sales or marketing, you probably know who you want to talk to. But this is a target list of who you want to meet with that has a clientele base that is your clients. So think through that, put it on your Excel spreadsheet, put it into your CRM, whatever you like to do, and start targeting those folks. So once you've targeted those folks, you should send out an email and likely a phone call. And don't get discouraged if you only get no response or one response to 10 emails. Really think about 1, 2, 3 series of emails. And those are really simple emails. They're, John, it's great seeing you. I'd love to get together and catch up on some business. I think we might have some clients that might be similar. And are you available to meet next month or next week? The other thing I would suggest is check into Calendly, which is Calendly, or some other appointment scheduling software that makes it easy. With that software, you can literally send a link to them that opens up your calendar for that particular lunch or event or call. That makes it real easy for the people on the other side to click and schedule. And I use that quite a bit with my LinkedIn connections. It's a phenomenal way to go. Now, once you're at this meeting, you really, or before you get to the meeting, you've got to think about, what are you trying to accomplish? What's your goal in this meeting? Is your goal in this meeting to listen and to give them a referral or give them some advice? Is your goal to meet their senior manager or their CEO? Is your goal to ask them to introduce you to somebody else? It could be one of all three or more. But the idea is when you walk into that one-on-one, you have to know what you're trying to accomplish. There's too many times that people go to these meetings and they just don't have, they just meander about, they have their lunch and they go on their way. There's nothing going on. Now, how do you figure out what your agenda is or what you're trying to get out of this meeting? You need to get ready. So getting ready, we all know research, but it's super easy these days. Going onto their website is the first step. Look at their bio. Go to their LinkedIn pages and dive in and say, who do they know that I know? Are they truly a person that is connected with the clients that I'm looking for, the prospects? How can I help them? What are they interested in? Are they from USC, UCLA? Do they play golf? Do they, find these things out? Super important in connecting when you walk into a meeting. So asking questions. I know it's hard. I know it seems somewhat boring at times because, and sometimes you seem like you're just, a prosecutor putting somebody on the stand. So don't think of it that way. People love to answer questions. They love to talk about themselves. And guess what? In your mind, you're figuring out exactly the way that person is going to be able to work for you or with you. And quite frankly, you're also identifying, is this a person I like? Is this somebody I want in my circle of influence? You may say, forget it. This guy doesn't have the same philosophies as I do. So I've wrote up a few questions, and this is all being recorded so you guys can go back and check it out. And I really think you want to be exploratory. So one thing I may not have on here, it's probably someplace buried, is, where do you want to be in 5 years? Great question. Here's one. What is your best sources of business? Simple things like, what do you like about what you're doing? Yeah, here we go. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? That's very reflective because it tells you, is this a person that's saying, look, I want to grow my business double. I want to retire. I'm thinking about moving to Chicago. You need to know these types of things. What are your competitive differentiators? You need to know this because you're either going to include this person in your circle or not. And quite frankly, if you're going to refer them to a client, you need to know why you're making that referral. So other things are, what organizations are you involved in? What do you like about it? And certainly, what are the keys to success in your business? And lastly, probably most importantly, how can I help you today? Important questions. So we get to the point where we have a wrap up. Now, this is the uncomfortable side of things. For those of you who are still dating, I'm not, you'll find that it feels the same. It's like, okay, here we are, we're at the end of the meeting. What do we do now? So the first step is you should have some follow-ups. The best networkers, by the time that they leave that meeting, they may even go on their cell phone on the side or pull up their iPad or whatever it might be, their computer, right after the meeting and do those actions immediately. So if you identify what those follow-ups are at the end of your meeting, you know exactly what your agenda is going forward and what your tasks are for this particular individual. Somebody I went to a networking lunch with recently, by the time I got back to my office, which was about 45 minutes away, I already had 2 introductions and his outline of his compelling differences. What a fantastic follow-up from this person. So that's a person of action. Now, I'll tell you something that's a little bit fun, but it's a little complicated. So what's complicated about it is who pays for lunch, right? Usually we all throw our credit cards out there and we say, okay, we'll split it up. I don't like that as much as telling the other person that I will take care of it, but here is my business card. Flip it over to the back of your business card if it's white or in the front, and write on there, you owe me lunch. And ask them to put that credit card in their wallet or that card in their wallet, business card in their wallet. Not your credit card, the business card in the wallet. And what that'll do is that person's going to carry that card around with them for a month or 2 until you guys have your next lunch. So it's a fantastic way to be top of mind and actually to be in that person's wallet or purse. What a great marketing tool. It's worth the 25 bucks you spent on lunch. The next step is certainly follow-up. Put an Outlook calendar update, that schedule for yourself that says 30 days later, 3 weeks later, 2 weeks later, whatever that is, that you follow up with them. It's really important. If you use a contact management system or something like that, then hang on one sec. If you're using a contact management or something like that, then go ahead and put it in there with a reminder to follow up. But follow-ups are important in multiple ways. If they're going to come into your circle of influence, you're going to want to talk to them every month. If not, if they're more of a 6-month or not necessarily in your circle, you're going to want to send them emails. Hi, how are you? Just continue to follow up. And I would suggest if they're in your circle, you want to have lunch with them, a physical meeting once every quarter and a phone call every month. If they're outside of your circle, then maybe that's a 6-month window and every other month for your verbal connection. All right, let's roll to top relationship strategies. So give to gather. I went to a meeting with a lawyer, an M&A attorney, who actually sold the Clippers a few years ago. Super high power guy. What he said to me, he says, my goal is to give you 2 pieces of business within the next 6 months. And all I expect from you is to remember me. So that was his goal. I love that goal. It made me feel great. And you know what? When I went back to my office, I thought to myself, I need to help this guy because he's already working to help me. Making strangers your friends. How many of us have been, walking down the street, you see somebody, they have cufflinks on and they have a great tie, they're a C-suite exec or a managing partner of a firm, and you just walk past them, or you're standing in the coffee line. Make strangers your friends. Super important. Talk to everybody. I don't care where they are or what they are. Talk to everybody. The other thing is when we go to events and when we show up at lunches, you got to empty your cup. You can't go there with preconceived notions that this is going to be a waste of time, or I met with this type of person before. I'll give you an example. I do commercial real estate within AI Capital. That's my job, and I had a deal that I was working on, and I'd scheduled a LinkedIn call with a lender. Now I have a stable of lenders. I probably have 20 lenders in my circle. I was thinking, well, let's take the call anyway. It just happened that that morning, prior to that call, my deal fell through on the loan perspective. I get this gentleman on the phone through LinkedIn, and he says to me, I say to him, well, you do bridge lending. I have a particular client need. The deal that we lost was because it got too expensive. It was 8% rate with 4.5 points up front. This gentleman I met with, which I didn't really want to meet with, I had a bad attitude. I didn't empty my cup. Ended up saying, I can get you a 2.75 point deal at 7.5%. And within 48 hours, my client was approved for that loan, and they were very happy with me. So I really need to take a different approach, and we need to take a different approach to these launch and those sorts of things. So join a group. I mean, we know, depending on what level you are, there's CEO groups, there's chambers of commerce, there's certainly a Highrise Networks, so on and so forth. But it's very important to be a part of a group. So think about what would work for you. And what I would suggest is every month, sit down and pick some event that you can go to every single week. So think about that. The other next item is stop selling. Networking and relationships is not selling. It's not going to this lunch and saying, John, I need you to give me a piece of business, or going on for 20 minutes on a sales pitch about how great your company is. That's not relationship building. If anything, that's going to turn those folks off, and you're going to end up getting nothing. Because it's really not about that individual you're sitting across from. It's really about those 100 people that they know very well that they can refer you to, ultimately. So that's not a salesperson. That's not a sales approach. This is not who you're selling to. So success is a 20-year plan. I think we all jump into this and we say, I need a deal, I need some business, I want to do this. But relationships aren't built overnight. You need to take the time to develop those relationships with strategy and a long-term approach. So think about that. So this is kind of a fun thing. It's puppy prescription. Any of you folks that have a puppy at home or have had a puppy, when you come home, they look at you, they jump around, they're excited, they're happy, they love on you, they're not judging you, they are just happy you're there. So that's the way we want to approach meetings, social events, and so on and so forth. You want to come in ready to greet people, ready to be excited about it. No insecurities. How often does a puppy think about what they're doing? They're just having fun and jumping up. So think about that. Elevators. What an awesome place to meet new people in your building. Highrise Networks was built around my relationship that I met a new client in the elevator riding up. It was incredible. It was a $100,000 commission that I found in an elevator. So you have the same opportunity by talking to people, saying, what do you do? Where are you with that law firm? There's things to ask. Have your card ready, hand them your card, and say, or hop out the elevator with them and talk to them about scheduling up a time to talk. So giving creates a void. If you're able to give something to somebody, they're going to want to give back. It's just human nature. So think about giving all the time. So what I'd like to do right now is hand this over to Pam Vetter, who's with Highrise Network, who's a vice president, and she is the social media guru.
Thank you, Forrest. Well, we talk about relationship building in person, but we also want to talk about relationship building on social media. If you don't have a digital footprint, you should. Social media is so important to follow people, learn about people, connect with people, and ultimately do business deals with people. Twitter is really important. You can follow people and find out a lot of information from them on Twitter. And I'm sure you know, let's see if I can go to the next slide. Forrest, I'm having problems going to the next slide for some reason. But you want to use hashtags. You want to find the 3 high performing keywords on every post, and you want to start to share content. Content is easy to find. You look at what your business folks, your relationships are sharing. Inc. magazine has a very high Alexa ranking. Entrepreneur magazine, Fortune, Forbes, those are the articles in the business world that really get attention. And so you want to reshare people's content, but you also want to post on their content. So you post a little comment and they start to notice and they follow you back and you start to develop relationships. If we can go to the next one for us. And then we go to Facebook. Facebook, it's just not moving, but Facebook is really important too. What people don't realize is that Facebook already has listings for every business online. So your business has a portfolio that maybe you have or haven't claimed yet. And the problem with that is that people can put reviews on there without you controlling it. So you really need to claim your Facebook page if you haven't done so yet. The next slide, please. Videos are being shared at a high rate on Facebook. The algorithm rewards videos these days, and so you might get more traction from that. And you might want to try a Facebook ads. They have reach and they're easy to follow, targeting demographics. So if you want to choose all executives in Los Angeles and a certain age group or downtown Los Angeles, you can target those in your Facebook ad just to get your information out there. YouTube is really important because everybody loves to watch a video. Videos are huge. Which would you rather do? Read a lengthy article about a business, or would you rather just watch a summary or share a video on YouTube? The next video, the next slide. Viral videos and explainer videos are huge. You want to find out about a business, you should have an explainer video on your website or on YouTube. So when people search you, it will come up on the first page of Google. Tell me a powerful story. What is your story? Make me a believer in your business. And then I'll connect with you and we'll do business together. LinkedIn is my absolute favorite. Everyone of power is on LinkedIn. So if you haven't connected with each other on LinkedIn, or you don't even have a profile on there, you want to do that today. Add your profile, start connecting with people, send them a personal note. Don't just use the automatic message from LinkedIn, but send something that catches their attention and says, oh, I want to know this person. I want to connect with this person. Forrest is really good at connecting with people on LinkedIn. The next slide. And it's the best way to reach professionals, business to business. Start relationship building on LinkedIn. If you're not doing it or you're not taking advantage of it, you know, all social media should only take you 30 minutes a day, and that includes activity on LinkedIn. Website and email marketing. Next slide. It is really going mobile. People wake up in the morning and they're actually on their mobile devices. Next slide. 50% of smartphone users grab their smartphone first after waking up and go to the internet. They're looking at your website, they're looking at your information. 67% of people with smartphones look at businesses on mobile. So they're looking at you on their phone. 57% say they won't recommend a business with a poorly designed mobile site. And 70% of consumers delete emails that don't look good on mobile. So you want to test it. You want to send it to yourself on mobile to make sure it looks good, because if you don't have a template, that's mobile friendly on Constant Contact or MailChimp or another provider, you're in trouble. People are looking for a mobile experience and they want to see your story, and you have seconds to sell yourself. Your digital footprint is your business card. It's critical you are on digital and you have a positive footprint, because this is what we're doing all day long. We're sending email back and forth. We're connecting with people on social media. We're connecting on LinkedIn. We want deals. We want clients. And we can do it if we have the right approach. Improve your digital footprint. And ultimately, what happens? You improve your business. So if you have any questions about social, you're certainly welcome to write to me at Highrise, pam.vetter@highrisenetworks.com.
Excellent. Thank you, Pam. So we'll talk just briefly about what we do at Highrise Networks, and you guys are certainly welcome to go to the website and look at this. But we do one-on-one, we do group meetings, we do events, we do Highrise Connect, which is an online portal for people to connect online. We kind of call it the eHarmony of business. We do online branding that we just spoke about. We have verticals, we have guesting, and so on. So if you guys want to take a look at our website at Highrise Networks, we'd be certainly excited about that. Please go check it out. We have multiple areas of interest. We actually have a mixer coming up next week. If you guys are in the Glendale area, we're going to have about 40 to 50 people on Brand Boulevard for an event. You guys have certainly probably seen that as we go through. So keep that in mind. So with that, I will stop sharing my screen and ask you guys, let me unmute everybody and see if there's any questions out there.
This is Bob Donaldson. Can you hear me?
Yes, Bob.
There's never a shortage of things to do. How would you prioritize the things that you're suggesting?
Well, I mean, I would say that it just all depends on your business. So, Bob, what do you do for work?
A financial consultant.
Okay. So my priority from that perspective would be building your circle of influence. Investment bankers, lawyers, people that are in deals that can, as they sell their businesses, they have millions of dollars. So my first priority would be circle of influence, and then I would, to build that circle of influence, I would spend my half hour a day doing the LinkedIn and just make that a part of your daily regimen.
When I think of the circle of influence, one of the things that sometimes takes some time to develop is confidence in the person that you're referring to. For instance, when you mention attorneys, sure enough, I've developed over the last 25 years some very specific firms that I'm very comfortable with. When I arrive with the client in tow, I've already educated the client. I'm in essence asking the attorney to please do this, 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 and this. These are the things that we want in the trust, etc. So this is on estate planning.
Right.
So what I've come to expect is that the attorney sees me something of the client. I'm really the client. And so it's obviously the expectation is that it's not an adversarial relationship. But that takes some time to develop not only the confidence in their ability, the competence in what they're doing, but also how they respond to clients, their time limit. I don't get complaints from clients because it took some time to obviously build some confidence that that person's not going to make me look bad.
Exactly.
So when I think of the circle that you built of influence, if I heard you right, or are you saying, hey, when you do that, choose 3 or 4 or 5 estate attorneys, and then sprinkle spread the love among them? Is that?
No, I don't agree with that. I think you get 2. So you might have a backup of 3 or 4 in the background, but you don't give them any business, and unless they're supporting you, and then they'll probably move into your 1 or 2. So when your number 2 guy or your number 1 guy, gal, doesn't do the right job, you take them out, and you bring in your next person that you're going to support and is going to be supporting you. So I think you need to focus, because we don't have that much time. I can't have relationships with 50 people or 100 people. I can't only eat that much, and I can't drink that much. And so if you have a focused group of your 10 sources that you help and they help you, and there's 2 in that line, give them all the business. Give those 2 folks all your business.
So sure enough, right now I've been giving all the business to one firm for 25 years, and never gotten reciprocity despite my specifically asking.
Mm-hmm. Well, time to
they
move on.
Okay.
Time to move on.
All right. I guess that's the tough part.
Yeah, sure. Well, thanks everybody for joining us. Feel free to take a look at the website as we spoke about. The easiest way to get involved with Highrise, if you guys are interested in getting involved, is to go and click on the guesting button, and you'll be able to register for an event that's close by you, and come on out and see us. And again, thank you for joining the webinar, and look forward to seeing you guys live at some point in the future.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.